Yeah, the Maple Leafs, pretty bad, pretty bad, and now we're at the stage where everybody's pointing fingers and who's gonna go, who's not gonna go. Yeah, I think it's tough to say. I think there are a couple people who stood out, during the series, like I thought Jack Campbell gave Toronto something to look forward to going into the future. I think like a couple of the games, he would like Freddie Anderson. I think would have fared much worse. I think Jack Campbell's a solid option to have at net if they can't find anything else. I think he stood on his head for the most part, and I don't think I would blame much of the loss on him. He did what he could most games to keep his team in it and made some fantastic saves. Maybe everybody wants to overreact right now, and maybe we should just keep it together and try and fill in the pieces, try to budget as much. Like, the thing with hockey is that so much of it is luck based. They did a study on this on the Bleacher Report, and which of the sports were most reliant on luck and which were like most skill. And basketball came up as like the most, like, if you have like the pieces in place, like have the players and pieces in place, that it was the most unlikely to have a underdog upset the team that should be winning. And hockey is just not like that. Hockey has a lot to do with bounces, the way the puck goes. And for instance, the Tavares situation where Tavares and Muzzin got injured. Those are two very important guys. Like, Muzzin is like probably one of Toronto's best defensive players. He really sets the tone and sets the tempo for a game and how it's going to play out. And Tavares is he's a guy they shelled out all that money for. And I think it's just overreaction city right now. And if you understand like hockey for what hockey is, and were there better ways that the Leafs could have handled it to get out of the series alive? Yes. Would they have won the Stanley Cup without Tavares and Muzzin? No. Uh, um, but that doesn't mean that the entire project needs to be blown up. That just means that they got a bout of bad luck, and maybe try to fill the pieces in where you can. If there looks like to be an enticing trade that would greatly benefit the team, explore that. But I just don't think it's worthy of an overreaction. I mean, look at how many times the Capitals have had the core of their roster together without any success, and then one year just boom, randomly won the Stanley Cup. You like that can easily happen to Toronto. But the one thing I would very much criticize them for is just when you're in the playoffs, every little thing counts, and they play pretty loose. Toronto plays pretty loose. They're very offensive. They're a very offensive team, but like stupid mistakes, putting them into the penalty box, and when you're 0-0 in the third period, the next penalty possibly loses the game. It's an unforced error to make to put your team in a situation where they have to fight off a 2 minute power play with 10 minutes left in the game in a third period in a 0-0 game. Like, for the Leafs, see why I still think they don't have to break up their core is because the issues were immaturity mostly, and if you're going to be a team, a dynasty, if you're going to be a team that wants to win, you cannot make these unforced errors, these flipping the puck into the benches, tripping into the goaltender, challenging something that clearly isn't going to get turned back and getting another penalty. It's just, I I really hope the Leafs learn from this. I do not think it's blow it up time. Do it. I still think they can win the Stanley Cup. Yes, but they like this is like they were getting blasted on Twitter. They were just getting torched on Twitter. This is like Atlanta Falcons level bad. Even it's even worse than the Falcons because the Falcons at least made it to the Super Bowl and choked there. Leafs can't even make it out of the fucking first round. So, the Falcons should stand in awe at the Leafs' ability to to completely botch things. But like I said, that has more to do with the nature of the game and hockey and the fact that it's more random. Like you see, if a team comes out to bang for a series, like we see Tampa Bay like get upset. So you really have to, have your head on a swivel and come absolutely ready to bang every single game. Otherwise, things can flip fast. Like the least safe lead in all the sports is a 2-goal lead in hockey. Leafs came back in both those games where they got down and they just couldn't fucking close the deal. So what else? What else is on in the world of sports? That was just so much of the talk recently. It's bad when American news hosts are going and commenting on like who don't give a fuck about hockey. Like Stephen A. Smith does not give a fuck about hockey. He's out there like ripping on the Leafs, and same thing with like a few other people I've seen on Twitter who are usually football exclusive, saying, okay, who is the college football comparative for how bad the Leafs are, and to say or how bad, not how bad they are, but how bad they keep choking. And quite frankly, I really don't think there's any comparable. And it's just sad because it seems like we're like really wanting to just get a playoff victory, and not like this isn't like a fucking us botching Stanley Cup appearances. We just fucking not getting out of the first round. It's embarrassing. The guys need to understand like where they're fucking up, and hopefully next year is better because who wants to win this year anyways? Because like, would you even be able to celebrate the Stanley Cup in Toronto if it happened? I don't think so. Save it for next year, guys, for when we can actually go out and celebrate your Stanley Cup. So if that's what they were doing, if that was the Leafs' whole master plan, and then I approve. But you can't figure that it was that they intentionally lost the series to make sure they're up and ready for next year. I'm sure all of them would have liked to get the monkey off of their collective backs by winning one. But man, oh man, is it tough to be a Leafs fan? And I only been one for a few years now. Can you imagine actually being a fan of this team for a while? I grew up in Windsor, so I was a Detroit fan. But like the thing is that you can't like bad shit. It's the same reason I'm not a Lions, or I wasn't a Lions fan all this time. I'm starting to come around. I'm starting to like some of the moves they're doing now, but I can't just openly like a team that's just so shit. It goes against my nature to cheer a team that just sucks and is going nowhere fast. I can't do that. But there's reason to believe the Leafs can turn a corner. They need to grow up, and they need to grow up fast, and they need to play together more. Another thing I noticed was Matthews taking, like, he was double teamed at like the corner of the net, and there was a guy who was like popping up wide open because of the double team, wide open in the slot. And Matthews just takes a fucking random shot right into Carey Price instead of passing to his guy that's open in the slot. Like, little immature things like that like you like when push comes to shove, you can't play fast and loose with the puck. You have to make the right read. You have to make the proper play that is going to give you the best leverage at an open shot, and like you just have to make the right plays. You can't just randomly dump it behind your net and then force a chase down. Like you have to make sure your passes are crisp and on the money, and don't fool around with the puck. And so I think if the Leafs can do these little things right, I know it's sky is falling and we need to sell everybody. No, I don't think that. I think that, but the one thing I would say, which there's a reason why I think that that this team is fixable, is that they need to grow up. They're too immature right now, and they need to play together, and they need to play for each other. And they definitely have the talent. There's no reason why they should have lost that series, but they need to make it gel together. And if they can make that happen, then they will be able to compete for a Stanley Cup.